We'll begin this conversation this morning with Jeremy Samek. He's the Chief of Staff and Senior Counsel for the Pennsylvania Family Institute. He is live at the Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. And Jeremy, it is a lively scene there this morning. You've got folks on both sides of this issue. Tell me a little bit where the passion is coming from this morning. This has not been on a lot of our radars, but what's going on at the Supreme Court today that we should care about?
Yeah, good morning, Jeff. And it is a lively scene down in Washington, D.C. this morning. There's a Supreme Court case that's 7 years in the making. The Independence Law Center filed amicus briefs in this case 3 separate times over the course of the 7 years. And what it boils down to is this. The state of South Carolina made a determination that for Medicaid money, they were going to allocate that to health care only, which means they didn't want to allow abortion providers to provide abortions that kill unborn children to use Medicaid funding to do that. Planned Parenthood has sued them, and that's what the case is about.
So I know that Planned Parenthood has done a kind of a marvelous rebranding of the issue, saying that abortion is health care, which would, if that premise was accepted, that would change this whole argument. How do you help people explain the difference between the effort to preserve life and those that to end it? Why isn't abortion health care? Why shouldn't the Planned Parenthood argument be challenged here?
Yeah, I think one simple way of looking at it is this. The goal of real health care is to improve somebody's health and keep them alive. And we know that abortion is not health care because if you have a failed abortion, somebody ended up accidentally living. And if you have a successful abortion, somebody ended up dead. And that's not health care.
Why do we need to care about this in Pennsylvania? I mean, this is, the Independence Law Center has joined this case, an amicus brief, friend of the court. Why is it relevant to Pennsylvania, and why should anybody in Pennsylvania care about what happens in South Carolina if, after all, the push is to push this issue back to the states for their decision making?
Yeah, there's really 3 reasons. The first is that we want to protect unborn life, and the second is this. Medicaid money there's only a certain amount of Medicaid money to go around, and that's allocated to help poor people get the health care that they need. All of the dollars that get transferred away from those individuals who need that health care to abortion clinics are going to create more problems for the poor of the state of Pennsylvania. And the third reason is this. The Pennsylvania Planned Parenthood organization has sued our state. Our state in Pennsylvania has a law that says that we won't use taxpayer funding to pay for elective abortions. And if they can do it here, they can take that tax money and use it for abortions in Pennsylvania as well.
Final question for you. The Pennsylvania has for a very long time had a program called Real Alternatives, and that was almost the counterbalance to Planned Parenthood. In other words, if Planned Parenthood is providing abortion, Real Alternative was providing counseling in the other direction. That at least a woman would be able to have all of the resources to make an informed decision, the woman and their partner. Governor Shapiro decided that the money belongs in the hands of people who provide abortions, that they would provide that balance. What's wrong with that shift? 29 years in one direction, and then the last 2 moving away from that balance in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, when women are pregnant and they need help and they may not have a lot of money, these pregnancy care centers stood beside them and provided resources, diapers, cribs, strollers, things that they need to be able to survive. And what Josh Shapiro did is really important, taking away the money from those organizations that help women in order to try to give it to an organization that simply tries to end the life of that infant.
Jeremy, let me ask you, I guess, a final question here. The behind you has been fascinating to watch as people really are trying to drown out the message of the other side. The pro-life protesters are generally very courteous and loving. Why is the way that we protest and the way that we love people who have a very different view from us important? You've been very, very careful to make your arguments with love, with grace, with understanding for the other side. Why should we follow that as believers into this very, very contentious argument?
Yeah, for the same reason that we understand that the unborn baby is made in God's image, we understand that people who disagree with us on the issue are also made in God's image. And so it's so important that we always speak the truth and we do it in love.
Jeremy, we're going to have you back here in the studio, God willing, tomorrow. Thank you for the clarity and the light that you brought to this issue. And also thank you for the way you're doing it with kindness and civility and with Christian grace. It makes a difference. Glad to have you today.
Thank you, Jeff.